All right, so to start out your factoring packet, we're going to start by looking at greatest common factor. And so up in this bubble here, I want you to make note that anytime you're factoring, always look to see if you can take out the greatest common factor. And that's before you do anything else. Always look for the greatest common factor first. If you can pull out a greatest common factor, that can make your expression look a lot easier and maybe show you another way to factor what's remaining. And so when we're looking at the greatest common factor, the first thing that we want to do is find the greatest common factor of the coefficients. And that's for each term. So, for instance, looking at this first example right here, looking at 110 and 77, I can see that the greatest common factor for the coefficients is going to be 11. Next, you're going to want to find the greatest common factor of the variables. And this part requires just a little bit more thinking. And so here I have an x cubed, here I have an x squared. So this is like 3x's being multiplied, 2x's being multiplied. So what they have in common are 2x's being multiplied. And so what I'm going to pull out of each of these terms is an 11x squared. And when I say pull out, what I mean by that is basically we're going to divide each of these terms by this greatest common factor, and that's our step 3. Divide each term by that greatest common factor. And so if I take 110 and I divide by 11, what's remaining is 10. If I take x cubed and I divide by x squared, I will end up being left with an x. But the 77, if I divide by 11, oops, sorry, making you dizzy here, that will end up giving me a 7. And then if I take the 77x squared and divide it by the x squared, I'm still just left with a 7 since we pulled out all of the x squareds here. So our last step is to write it in factored form. And when we say factored form, that means we need a product, so multiplication. And typically you'll see that GCF is out front. So we'll put that GCF out front, which was 11x squared. And there's our factored form now. Okay, so for the next one, our greatest common factor, we could pull out a 6x to the 5th. And so what would be remaining there, we will write that greatest common factor out front. With the first term, we're left with an x squared. Negative 216 divided by 6 would give us negative 36. And we pulled out all the x's, so this no longer has a variable with it. Now, later on, we will look at how we would factor this. Technically, this expression right here is not completely factored, so we'll go into that a little bit later. But for now, we'll just leave it as is. With example 2, I'm clearly not going in order here. We have 4 terms, so now we have to look at all 4 terms, and right away looking at the coefficients, I see that our greatest common factor is a 3. And notice that not all of them have the variable x, so that's all that I can pull out of each. We write that greatest common factor out front. What's remaining is 5x to the 4th minus 4x squared plus 2x minus 18. Okay, I'll go down to example 3 now. Our greatest common factor, looking at our coefficients first, is going to be a 2. Looking at our variables, they all have at least 3 x's. So our greatest common factor is 2x cubed. We write that out front. What we have remaining here is an x squared. Next term, a negative 12x. And then the last one, a plus 20. Moving over to example 5. We have a 12, a 7, and a negative 13. So there's not a greatest common factor between the coefficients. But if you look, now we have 2 variables. However, this term doesn't have a y variable with it. So our greatest common factor is only going to be involving an x. And right here is the smallest amount of x's, which is x squared. So we can pull an x squared out. What will be remaining in this first term is a 12x cubed y cubed. With the next one, we will have a 7y to the 5th. And with the last one, we'll have a 13x. And that would be to the 13th. Okay, so remember, basically when we pull out that greatest common factor, we're basically doing division. So you could always check to make sure you have this right by multiplying your greatest common factor back through. So I know that sometimes those laws of exponents get confusing, but if you took x squared, for instance, times this x to the 13th, you know that you would add exponents, so you'd end up getting x to the 15th. So that could be a quick way that you could check your work to make sure it's making sense. Okay, the last one, we've got a lot of terms, we've got large numbers, we've got 3 different variables. So first looking at the 126, the negative 84, the 21, and the negative 105, we will identify that the greatest common factor of our coefficients is 3. First term, we have 15x's, 7x's, 8x's, and 4x's. So x to the 4th would be the greatest common factor between the x's. Then we have y to the 8th, y to the 15th, y squared, and y cubed. Y squared would be the greatest common factor. And then we have a z to the 6th, a z to the 3rd, z to the 10th, and just a z. So z would be that greatest common factor there. So we pull out that greatest common factor. Okay, so 126 divided by 3 would give us 42. X to the 15th divided by x to the 4th will give us x to the 11th. Y to the 8th divided by y squared is y to the 6th. Z to the 6th over z is z. We continue this process, we'll end up getting a negative 28x cubed, y to the 13th, z squared. I'm going to run out of room here. The next term I'll end up with a positive 7x to the 4th, z to the 9th. And then my last one, we will have, since we pulled out all of the x's, we will have 1 y left over. Coefficient is left with a 35. And then we pulled out the only z. Okay, so greatest common factor, again, just basically looking at all of our terms that we have in an expression, trying to pull out what they have in common. And so again, this is one of the most important ways of factoring. You want to look for that first, because then after we've pulled out the greatest common factor, we can see what's remaining to see if we could factor that further.